Hola, soy María Estudillo y soy tu profesora de español. As we discussed in class last time, today we will be learning how to greet and say goodbye to people in formal and informal situations. In the last class, we mentioned that when addressing one person, Spanish speakers use the informal tú or the formal usted. Let's complete a short warm-up to see if you remember the difference. How would you address me? Right, you would use usted. How would you address a child? Perfecto, you would use tú. And how would you address someone older than you? Muy bien, you use usted. If you still have questions between tú and usted, don't worry. We will go over this information in just a moment. By the end of this video, you should be able to do the following. First, use appropriate expressions to greet and say goodbye to others. Second, introduce yourself to others and elicit basic information like what is your name and how are you. And third, explain cultural similarities and differences between the Hispanic culture and yours. One of the main reasons a person learns another language is so that they can talk to people they normally wouldn't talk to, and to know how to interact properly within the new culture. In English, when you find someone you would like to start a conversation with, it is usually polite to say something like, "Excuse me," right? So, to say excuse me in Spanish, you need to say, "Perdone, señor." Perdone, señor. If the person is a man. And perdone, señora. Perdone, señora. If the person is a woman. How would you say excuse me to this person? Perfecto. You would say perdone, señor. How would you say excuse me to this person? Perfecto. You would say perdone, señora. And after this, he or she may say hola. And you would simply say hola back. Notice how the H is silent and it is pronounced hola and not hola. Also, notice the punctuation. In Spanish, we add an upside down exclamation mark at the beginning of the word or sentence and one at the end, just like you do in English. We use other greetings based on the time of the day. Repeat them with me. Buenos días. Buenos días. Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. Buenas noches. Buenas noches. We use buenos días for good morning, buenas tardes for good afternoon, and buenas noches for good evening. It is important that you notice that buenos días ends in OS, but buenas tardes and buenas noches ends in AS. Let's practice this one more time. Hola, buenos días. Hola, buenas tardes. Hola, buenas noches. When someone says any of these greetings, it is your turn to respond. And all you have to do is repeat what they say. So if I say, hola, buenas tardes, what do you say? If I say, hola, buenos días, what do you say? And if I say, hola, buenas noches? Good. After that, I would ask you, how are you? To say, how are you, if the person is your boss, professor, someone older, or someone you're not familiar, say, ¿Cómo está? This is the formal way of asking, how are you? But if you're talking to a family member, your classmate, or someone your age, say, ¿Cómo estás? And this is the informal way of asking, how are you? Now you need to ask me how I am. Perfecto. You say, ¿cómo está? Now ask me again. Estoy bien, gracias. Estoy bien, gracias. I'm fine, thank you. Other options to answer ¿cómo está? Or ¿cómo estás? Is, if you're not doing well, estoy triste. Estoy triste. Estoy regular. Estoy regular. You can also ask the other person how they're doing, but you don't have to say the whole question. You can simply say, and you, by saying, ¿y usted? Formal, or ¿y tú? Informal. I am going to ask you how you are doing. Answer by saying you're fine, and then ask, ¿y usted? Hola, ¿cómo está? Estoy bien, gracias. Let's put together what you have learned so far. You and I are going to do a dialogue. To make sure you're saying the correct phrases, I will show them to you on the screen when it's your turn to talk. But if you're just reading the responses without trying, you need to go back and review the material before moving on. You're going to start the dialogue by telling me, "Excuse me, ma'am," and I'll respond and keep the conversation going. Begin by saying, "Excuse me, ma'am." Hola, buenos días, ¿cómo está? Estoy bien, gracias. Excelente. Now let's learn how to ask and give our name and what to say when you meet someone new. You already know my name. Me llamo María. ¿Cómo se llama? Here we are using the formal way of asking what is your name. ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama? And the person would say, me llamo Noé. Me llamo Noé. Here we're using the informal way of asking, what is your name? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? And the person would say, me llamo Lucas. Me llamo Lucas. How would you ask what is your name to this person? Would you say, ¿cómo se llama? Or would you say, ¿cómo te llamas? Muy bien. You would say, ¿cómo se llama? And how would you ask what is your name to this person? Would you say, ¿cómo se llama? Or ¿cómo te llamas? Perfecto. You would say, ¿cómo te llamas? Why don't you and I try this? Me llamo María. ¿Cómo se llama? Mucho gusto. Mucho gusto is used for nice meeting you, or you can say es un placer, for it is a pleasure. Let's practice the dialogue again. Me llamo María. ¿Cómo se llama? Mucho gusto. Muy bien. In the Hispanic culture, when you meet someone in an informal situation, it is normal to kiss the person on the cheek once, twice if you're in Spain. You shake hands in a formal situation like at your job. Two men will always shake hands for formal or informal situations. How does this make you feel? What is physical contact like in your culture when you greet someone or meet somebody new? Does this vary with age of the person and social status? Post your answers to these 3 questions in the discussion board in Pilot so your classmates and I can learn about your culture. You have learned so much in this first lesson. All we have left is saying goodbye. There are many different ways how you can say goodbye. Adiós. Adiós. Hasta mañana. Hasta mañana. if you're going to see the person tomorrow. Hasta luego. Hasta luego, if you're going to see the person later. Now let's complete one more dialogue. You start with "Excuse me, ma'am," and I'll respond and keep the conversation going. Start. Hola, buenos días. ¿Cómo está? Estoy bien, gracias. Me llamo María. ¿Cómo se llama? Mucho gusto. Perfecto. Now that we have a start to a great conversation. If you were not able to complete the dialogue, go back and watch the video again. Remember that one of the best ways to learn and practice a new language is to talk to other people. So that is exactly what you will do for your homework. You will need to create a dialogue with someone from class or outside of class if you prefer. Make a video of you two having a conversation similar to the one you and I practiced at the end of this video. Post your video to Dropbox. Don't forget to send me an email or give me a call if you have any questions or comments. Hasta luego!